All right, welcome. We have just a few bills here. It shouldn't be too big of a day. I'm going to start with Delegate Kerr, Vice Chair Kerr. Welcome. And we're also going to pull your panel up of Rin Rogulis and Ann Hoffman, but we'll let you start, Delegate. And I'm sorry, this is House Bill 6.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Vice Chair, good to see you in that chair. So I'm here today to present House Bill 6. This will be the third time that you've heard this bill in one form or another. Last year, this committee passed this bill, and it went over to the Senate without a cross-file, and there died an unceremonious death. So I'm bringing it back this year, hoping for a better result across the street. So when I was 26, I was newly married, and I was in college completing my coursework to get my teaching certification. And my wife was newly pregnant and had started a new job that we thought was going to give us health insurance. Well, back in 1983, pregnancy was a pre-existing condition. And since she was the one who held the insurance, she was not covered. So she found out that me, as a full-time college student, if I were the one that was insured and she was a dependent, she would be able to have the childbirth covered. So I came home from school one day, and my wife was all excited because she had found somewhere where I could get a job that would, after 90 days, get me health insurance. So she says, I have great news. You're going to be a school bus driver. So I spent the summer going through school bus driving lessons. I got my route in September. And then 90 days later, at the beginning of December, I was able to have health coverage. And then the baby was born on Christmas Day, and everything was covered. So fast forward to the spring semester, my wife only had 5 weeks of maternity leave. And there were, when you're a young parent, everything is split-second timing. So I was driving the school bus in the morning, taking afternoon classes, driving the school bus in the afternoon, and then taking evening classes. So she was late when she would be late coming home from work, and I had class that I had to start, and we had already picked up the child from daycare. There were many times when I had to bring my baby daughter to class with me. So fast forward 12 years, now I'm the college professor, and I'm seeing young moms usually who are in the same position that I was in as a student parent, that they would come in very apologetically with a young child either by the hand or in a bassinet and sit there and hope that the baby didn't cry during the class. So I tell you that story to tell you how, both as a parent in this situation and as a college professor seeing others in the situation, why House Bill 6 is so important. College students with dependent children face unique challenges that can impact their success rates. Here are some statistics. Only about 33% of student parents earn a degree within the 6-year time frame, compared with about 54% of students without children. Dropout rates, more than half of 52% of student parents leave college without earning a degree. Despite challenges, they tend to have higher GPAs, around 3.0 or above, compared to their peers who do not have children. They take longer to complete because of part-time enrollment, balancing work, school, and childcare. Maryland does not currently provide specific graduation rates for college students with dependent children. However, understanding the broader educational landscape in Maryland can offer some context. Overall graduations in the 2022 to 2023 academic year, adjusted for graduation rate, it was 88.5, a graduation rate with a slight decrease from 86.3 the previous year. Demographic disparities, graduations vary among different student groups. For example, in that same year, Asian students had the highest graduation at 96%, white students at 93.5%, African American students at 84%, Hispanic students at 72%, but this cohort of student parents is at about 54%. So while specific data is not available, the trends indicate that these students face difficulties that other students do not. So what House Bill 6 tries to do is get the data that we need to find out what exactly is needed to help these young student parents be successful. These are the people that we need to finish college degrees. They have dependent children. They are on a path toward a career, and to see them drop out because of something that possibly we can determine a way to help them, I think would be our responsibility. I'd like, before I turn it over to my witness panel, mention the fiscal note. The fiscal writer said that this similar legislation has not been introduced in the last 3 years. However, this is the third year that I've brought this or a similar bill. Also, in the first 2 years, there was no fiscal note, and we had, in discussions with MHEC over the interim, were led to believe that they could accomplish this with existing resources, yet the fiscal note writer came in with a $51,000 and change fiscal note that we were unexpecting, that we will have to look into and resolve. And with that, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, I would ask for your favorable report and now turn it over to my witness panel.
Excellent. Let's hear from your panel. Ann Hoffman, welcome. And I'll remind just our first bill hearing of the year, witnesses have 2 minutes. So welcome, Ann.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Dr. Ann Hoffman. I'm a professor of English at Frederick Community College, and I'm here today as a member of the public and as a former single mother who earned my degree at my PhD at University of Maryland College Park while raising 2 children. I navigated 8 years of doctoral study in a system that offered no targeted support, and I urge your favorable support on HB 006. HB 006 is a critical amendment to the Pregnant and Parenting Support Act, HB 0846, that passed last year that is now Maryland law. While HB 0846 established the foundation by requiring institutions to post plans, HB 006 ensures equity by requiring these concrete supports at all public institutions, to include community colleges, which the current law does not currently require. It formalizes the data collection necessary to make these families visible. Without this data, we cannot evaluate effectiveness or outcomes. So I want to clarify that the referrals and plan requirements are already law under HB 0846. This bill simply ensures those services reach the students who already qualify in the institutions that primarily serve them. You cannot connect a student to a resource if you don't know they exist. In higher education, we say you cannot support student parents if you do not know who they are. Currently, 20% of all U.S. college students are parenting, and nearly 70% of those are community colleges where they live at or below 200% of the poverty line. Despite these challenges, my own research proves that when we know which institutions and programs house the most parenting students and provide programmatic interventions, these students achieve completion rates that actually exceed the general college-going populations, as Delegate Kerr indicated. This is good for children, families, and the Maryland economy. Studies from the Institute for Women's Policy Research, which I'm happy to share with the committee, also shows that investing in Maryland student parents yields massive fiscal state return. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for your advocacy and being with us.
Thank you.
Lynn, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Chair Barnes, Vice Chair Kaiser, and members of the Appropriation Committee. My name is Lynn Regulus, and I'm currently a senior at the University of Maryland, and I'm here today to testify in strong support of House Bill 6. Last year, and also just now you heard from my mother. She spoke to you as an educator, a researcher, and a single mom who spent 8 years commuting from Frederick to College Park to earn her PhD. She shared two staggering statistics that 20% of college students are parents, and that nearly 70% of those at two-year colleges live near or below the poverty line. And so today I'm here to share the other side of that story, which is the perspective of a child. I grew up watching my mother balance the immense weight of being a student and a provider. I saw firsthand the psychosocial stress her research describes. I remember the late nights she spent studying after putting us to bed, the long commutes, and the constant underlying pressure of trying to build a better future for our family without the roadmap or targeted support from the system. My mother succeeded, but it wasn't easy. She had an incredibly supportive family and circle of friends. This bill is a vital step toward making sure other families don't have to rely on luck or extraordinary endurance alone. By requiring the collection of data on parenting students, we're finally making these invisible students visible. You cannot support a population you don't track. You can't resource the institutions serving them if you don't know who they are. Supporting parent students is one of the most effective ways to break the cycle of poverty. When a parent earns a degree, the return on investment isn't just a higher salary for the graduate. It's a more stable home, a better education, and a clearer path to success for their children. I'm a product of a parenting student's hard work. As such, I urge this committee to issue a favorable report on HB6 so that Maryland can properly identify, support, and empower the thousands of other families currently striving to reach the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your advocacy, and always congratulations on all your success. Any questions for Delegate Kerr or the panel? Delegate, we're going to get this bill out fast. We passed it last year, not worried about the fiscal note. We'll get it out soon. All right, thank you. Thanks for being with us. We do have some other witnesses here. If we can pull them on screen, Alicia Small, Jessica Bransome, Labette Luzpone, and Laura Boogie. Actually, save Laura. I think she is unfavorable, so just bring the other three up. Alicia, let's start with you. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, members of the Appropriations Committee. My name is Alicia Small, and I am a Maryland resident, a certified personal development coach, and a former student parent. I'm submitting this testimony in strong support of House Bill 6. HB 6 is a necessary next step in ensuring the Pregnant and Parenting Student Support Act is fully implemented across Maryland's public higher education system. Simply put, we cannot support student parents if we do not know who they are. Consistent data collection is essential to visible access and accountability. My support for this bill is deeply personal. As a former student parent, I started and stopped my academic journey multiple times, not because of lack of motivation or ability, but because I lacked support. While attending college in New York, I worked full-time during the day as an ABA therapist assistant, supporting children with disabilities, and attended classes at night 4 days a week. My child was in elementary school, and without a car, we relied entirely on public transportation. On school nights, we often did not get home until 11 p.m. after starting our day around 5 a.m. At the same time, I was navigating my child's first special education evaluation, a stressful and time-consuming process in itself. There was no coordinated support for childcare, caregiver emergencies, or academic flexibility. The strain became overwhelming mentally, physically, and emotionally and financially. And the most responsible decision I can make for my family at that time was to withdraw from school. My experience is not unique. Student parents are significant yet often an invisible population in higher education. HB 6 ensures that institutions collect the data needed to identify student parents and connect them to the supports already under Maryland law. I respectfully urge the committee to support this bill and ensure that student parents across Maryland have the opportunity to not just enroll, but persist and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Jabette, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. I'm Dr. Jabette Lozapone, founder of Wishful Doing, and I serve as a Director of Student Affairs at Montgomery College, where I help transform one of Maryland's largest institutions into a family-friendly college one committed to ensuring every student has the tools and resources they need to succeed. I'm here today in strong support of House Bill 006. I'm also here as a former teen mom who pursued higher education while raising a child largely invisible to the very systems designed to support student success. When I became pregnant at 16, I lost my campus housing. I navigated homelessness, childcare, and full-time work while trying to stay enrolled. There was no policy, no office, no data, no infrastructure. What I had instead was happenstance, a professor who noticed I was struggling, a staff member who chose flexibility, people who cared enough to see me as more than a risk statistic. Those individuals single-handedly changed my life. But the truth we must confront is that my success was never guaranteed. It was left to chance. Today, I stand before you as someone who moved from homelessness to stability, from an empty fridge to a full one, from survival to a dependable income, a career, and the ability to contribute meaningfully to Maryland's workforce and tax base. That trajectory should not be a miracle. By collecting consistent statewide data on student parents, Maryland can build the infrastructure that turns persistence into completion, completion into careers, and careers into tax-paying, community-anchored families. This bill is about workforce development, economic mobility, and Maryland's future prosperity. HB 006 makes success the expectation, not the exception. This bill ensures student parents are seen, counted, and planned for. It gives the institutions the data required to move from good intentions to real outcomes: persistence, completion, employment, and economic mobility. I survived a system that didn't see me, wasn't built for me. HB 006 makes sure that others don't have to.
Thank you.
Respectfully
Thank you
urge
so
a
much.
favorable report. Thank you.
Thanks for your testimony. Thank you for being with us. Jessica.
Hi, good afternoon, chairs and members of the House Appropriations Committee. My name is Jessica Bransom. I'm a student at a Maryland Public Institution of Higher Education and a parent of 6, 4 of which are part of my current economic unit that is well below the Alice guidelines for my county. I'm here today. I know firsthand how critical data is to access and sustain support. In the past, data collected about student and family circumstances helped my household and the next generation in my family. Benefits from state grants and private sector support, those resources made it possible not for us just to survive, but to move forward and begin to thrive. When student parents are not counted, our needs are often overlooked. Without accurate data, institutions cannot fully understand or meet the needs of pregnant and parenting students, whether this means financial aid, childcare access, housing stability, or academic support. HB 006 ensures that student parents are visible and the public institutions are accounted for developing plans that truly support us. The bill helps create pathways to completion, stability, and long-term success of my families like mine. I respectfully ask the committee to issue a favorable report on House Bill 006 to better support student parents across Maryland. Thank you for your time and listening to my testimony today.
And thank you. Thanks for being with us and sharing your testimony. Any questions for this witness or any of the other witnesses? Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. All right, let's turn to the one unfavorable witness. She's not in the waiting room? Okay. All right, I think that concludes the bill hearing. Go to House Bill 60. I think I saw Delegate Patterson. Welcome. Good to see you. And you have a witness with you, Nikia Vaughn. Come on up. And we do have a Tanika Hoffman also get her ready virtually.
Appropriations Committee. For the record, I'm Delegate Edith Patterson, sponsor of House Bill 60. And let me just say, this legislation is inspired by a personal experience I had with a student afflicted with sickle cell disease, from henceforth called SCD, who was a member of a historically Black college in Maryland. During a crisis, she was unable to attend her classes, complete assignments, or engage fully in her education. She reached out to me and to others for assistance, and the situation highlighted the profound challenges that students with SCD face in balancing their health and in balancing their academic responsibilities. Please note that there are approximately 700 students in the state that are college students and represent 10 to 15% of the SCD population, a population that includes about 4,000 members of Maryland. As you may know or may not know, SCD is a chronic condition that can significantly impact students' academic performance and overall school experience. While most students with SCD have normal learning abilities when they're not experiencing symptoms, the unpredictable nature of this disease often creates unique challenges that require thoughtful accommodations and, most of all, support. Frequent pain crises, fatigue, and other complications can lead to missing school days. It leads to difficulty concentrating and lower academic performance in proper systems that are not in place. That is why House Bill 60 is needed. This legislation seeks to address these challenges by encouraging the Maryland Department of Health to develop health programs and awareness campaigns to implement tailored programs and policies to support students with SCD. These policies include accommodations, collaboration with healthcare providers to make sure that critical needs are ensured for students during their college attendance, preparations to manage a student's medical needs, particularly during pain crises, and awareness and training to educate teachers, administrators, and staff about SCD, sickle cell disease. Awareness training would help staff identify symptoms. It would help staff respond appropriately during crises and better understand the needs of students with sickle cell disease. Given the significant challenges faced by students with this disease disorder, this legislation is an essential step towards ensuring that schools provide the accommodations and support these students need to succeed academically. By requiring the Department of Health to create individualized plans, promote awareness training, and establish consistent access to medical resources. Maryland can improve the educational training and experiences and outcomes for students with sickle cell disease and serve as a model for other states. In summary, House Bill 60 is a straightforward yet impactful measure to support students at institutions of higher education who have sickle cell disease. It addresses a critical gap in educational equity and encourages students with sickle cell have the resources and support they need to thrive academically, despite the challenges posed by their condition. Please note that this bill was offered last year, and it passed the House unanimously last session. Therefore, I am requesting once more a favorable report for House Bill 60. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, we passed it last year. We'll get it on the move as fast as we can this year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Nakia K. Vaughn, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Maryland Sickle Cell Disease Association. I am here today in strong support of House Bill 60. I offer this testimony not only as a professional leader in the sickle cell community, but also as a mother of 2 children living with chronic illnesses, including sickle cell disease. This issue is deeply profound for me and personal. Recently, I spent time with the students I call the Invisible Warriors at Morgan State University. These are capable, driven students managing a lifelong, unpredictable disease while pursuing higher education. During these conversations, a senior shared that some professors do not allow excused absences or make up work even when students are hospitalized or experiencing a sickle cell crisis. One student shared something even more troubling. They explained that they attended class while actively in pain because they feared the academic consequences of being absent. No student should ever have to choose between their health and their education, yet for students living with sickle cell disease, this choice happens far too often. As a parent, this is deeply concerning. My daughter will be a freshman in high school next year. She is an aspiring artist living with sickle cell disease and has already accomplished so much, including serving as the inaugural in-house artist at the inaugural Sickle Cell Summit as a guest of U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra. She dreams of attending the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore. As she becomes college-bound, I think about the systems that will either support her or fail her when she becomes ill. Will she be believed? Will compassion guide policy? Or will she be expected to push through pain to prove that she belongs? I thank you for your time and hope that you find this favorable, and thank you for your consideration.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for your advocacy. Any questions for Delegate Patterson or witness? Okay, thank you both. Oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Acevedo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly, but to bring some context into this, NIH, which is in my county, has seen significant cuts by this administration, and my understanding is that NIH was also, you all know more than me as the Sickle Cell Association, but wasn't there supposed to be a trial stage, I understand, for around sickle cell that the NIH was getting ready to engage in, but with the federal cuts, I think that has halted a lot of research and whatnot that they want to do around sickle cell disease. How does that impact not just the work of the association, but just the people who are living with sickle cell disease every single day and coping, right? Not just those in academia or students, et cetera, but folks who are leading, day-to-day lives. What kind of impact has had the federal cuts, especially as it relates to NIH, had on your work?
Yes, thank you for your question. So yes, in April, the NIH, the research of 10 years, those sciences were let go. And right now the impact is significant.
And they were close to treatment, right?
Yes, we do have really great treatment right now, but this research was cut abruptly with the administration. And right now we do have really strong treatment. We just have some federal things going on with CMS.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So millions of dollars wasted in research money. We were so close to treatment for sickle cell disease, something that was operational, and just fired all the scientists and the folks who were working on this very, very important research, right?
Yes, that is very correct and unfortunate.
Thank you.
I will add that there's another bill that also will address the critical need for attendance or research related to sickle cell disease, as well as medical treatment statewide.
Okay, thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think there's one other witness online, if you can. They're here. Great. Tanika, welcome. 2 minutes.
Thank you for having me. To the chair, vice chair, and members of the committee, hello, my name is Tanika Hoffman. I am a sickle cell warrior, as well as the founder of the Sickle Cell Coalition of Maryland. And I am here today to ask you to vote favorably and support House Bill 60. House Bill 60 addresses a critical gap in how Maryland institutions of higher education support students living with sickle cell disease. As well as other chronic disorders. Students with sickle cell disease experience unpredictable pain crises, severe fatigue, hospitalization, medical complications that directly interfere with class attendance, examinations, coursework, and extracurricular activities. While federal disability protections do exist, their implementation across higher education is often inconsistent in the experience of the sickle cell warrior. Too frequently, accommodations depend on individual professors rather than a uniform institutional practice, creating unnecessary barriers for students managing a life-threatening illness. The issue is often informed by lived experience. As someone living with sickle cell disease, I have experienced firsthand how it is difficult to navigate higher education environments when there is limited understanding of what sickle cell disease is. It truly is an invisible disease. Even with documented needs and support from the disability office, ADA support, accommodations that are often handled on a case-by-case situation, there is a disconnect between students and their administration at their university level. House Bill 60 provides much needed and clarifying the needs of the patient and accountability. The bill helps provide administrators with a true and accurate picture of what students with sickle cell disease experience and live through, enabling our institutions to respond with informed, consistent, and appropriate support. Importantly, students are not just asking for shortcuts or lower expectations, only for reasonable support and accommodations to meet their existing academic challenges. Maryland needs stronger state-level support at the university level to support warriors in higher education. Without clear statutory guidance, inequities persist, particularly for those from Black, Hispanic, and underserved communities that are disproportionately affected by sickle cell disease. I ask that you will vote favorably, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and thanks for your passion and advocacy. Any questions for Tanika? Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. That concludes the bill hearing. Thank you. All right, we're going to go to House Bill 327. Delegate Eversole, good to see you, bud.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the August Appropriations Committee. Nice to see you all today. A little over a year ago, the Baltimore County voters voted to change the Baltimore County Charter to increase the number of council members from 7 to 9. There were a lot of reasons for this, but there were several cascading effects of that change. Several things are tied to the number of council members, and one of them is the members of the Board of Trustees for the Community College of Baltimore County. The Community College of Baltimore County already has 15 members, which is 50% greater than any other Board of Trustees in the state for a community college, and this would have caused an increase of 4 more because there are 2 members from each council district, raising the number to 19. The chair of the trustees and one of the trustees, as well as the president of the community college, came and asked if we would fashion a bill to change the way the trustees are selected to 1 trustee from each of the 9 council districts, and then 2 at large to keep the number odd. The previous one had 2 from each for 14 and 1 at large to make it odd. I was ready to do this. One of the concerns is when you change over and you reduce people, there are people sitting on the Board of Trustees who you might have to kick off. Worked out we didn't have to. It worked out very beautifully so that we could arrange to have 1 member from each of the new council districts who would continue to serve in that position, and the 2 where we had an overlap, where we had 2 people living in the same new council district, they could be marked as at large. And so we've been in contact with the governor's office on appointments, as well as Community College of Baltimore County. This is pretty much everyone feels great about that we're doing this, and I think it will make the Board of Trustees a more manageable number. I urge a favorable report.
Great. Any questions? Local bill, get us the letter. We'll get it moving as quick as we can.
Thanks.
Oh, Delegate Watson.
You're going from 15 to 11?
15 to 11, that's correct.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it does. I was trying to figure out if we could make it even smaller, but I couldn't work that out. The Baltimore County delegation will take it up this Friday, so we'll have a letter for you.
Okay, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks. That concludes the bill hearing. Next up, Delegate Fair, House Bill 28. Okay.
All right, good to go? Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Barnes, Vice Chair Kaiser, and esteemed members of the Appropriations Committee. For the record, I'm Delegate Chris Fair, presenting House Bill 28. This bill seeks to enable qualifying private schools and institutions of post-secondary education to advertise slightly ahead of their official opening date after meeting certain criteria and only with Maryland Higher Education Commission's explicit approval. The bill passed unanimously through this committee last year and unanimously on the House floor. I'm also excited to have a cross-file on EEE this year with Senator Watson. To guarantee robust consumer protections for students, Schools that receive approval to advertise under this legislation are not allowed to enroll or accept any payments of funds from prospective students. The bill allows institutions to request to begin advertising before receiving their final certificate of approval, but only when they have conducted a market survey, secured a location for the school, completed necessary building modifications, obtained required equipment and permits, except the COA, are likely to receive approval from the Maryland Higher Education Commission, and have received explicit authorization from the Secretary to begin advertising. The legislation is necessary to codify the unwritten administrative practices that MHEC currently employs so that these institutions can open, operate, and plan their activities with sufficient clarity. Schools' inability to advertise before opening means that they must fully open before recruiting any students, incurring weeks and potentially months of full operating costs without any associated revenue from full operating levels of students. Those costs amount to an unnecessary financial burden for Maryland educational institutions offering alternative career pathways like allied health, cosmetology, and barbering, real estate, and mechanics, just to name a few. The barrier could be alleviated if the schools are able to enroll students closer to their opening dates, which would require them to identify and communicate their existence of services with prospective students beforehand through advertising. You will see that there is a sponsor amendment to add institutions of post-secondary education to the bill. This is to ensure that the bill captures all relevant institutions in Maryland and not just a subset of career schools. Finally, I am grateful to MHEC's collaboration on this legislation, developing the language directly with them from last year. With MHEC's guidance, I am confident that this bill strikes the appropriate balance between robust student protections and regulatory reform to making opening and operating less burdensome, ultimately giving students more opportunities to pursue alternative career paths. For these reasons, I urge the committee to give House Bill 28 a favorable report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thanks for the bill.
Thank you.
Any questions from the sponsor? For the sponsor? Okay, we'll get this bill going again quick as we can.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr.
Have
Chair.
a good day.
Take care.
And it ends the bill hearing. Move to House Bill 225. Kevin Addix, I'm sorry, Deputy Secretary Connolly, Ann Litz, and Sheila Curry. Come on up. Departmental bill.
Mr. Chair, apologies. Secretary Addix is on a briefing on the Bay right now. House Bill 225 would extend the Maryland Horse Industry Board for an additional 10 years. It's been around for about 50 years. The board is made up of members of the horse community, and it's we license stables, and it's basically a consumer protection law to make sure that when the public goes out to a horse riding stable or takes lessons, that it meets conditions that are good for the consuming public. It also is in the business of promoting the general horse community and the horse ecosystem to make sure that we have a strong horse industry in Maryland. And just one little tidbit, there are more horses per acre in the state of Maryland than any other state in the country, and we want to continue to have a very strong equine industry. And I'll let Ann Litz, she's the executive director of the Maryland Horse Industry Board, and go next.
Thank you very much. Chair Barnes, Vice Chair. My name is Ann Litz, and I'm the executive director of the Maryland Horse Industry Board. I have submitted written testimony, but I'd also like to highlight some of the reasons that I support House Bill 225. The Maryland Horse Industry Board plays a critical role in consumer protection and regulatory oversight within Maryland's equine industry. The Maryland Horse Industry Board serves as the state's licensing authority for commercial stables that board, give lessons, have therapeutic services, rent horses, trail ride, serve as rescues, or provide sanctuaries for horses that deal with the public. Through this licensing framework, the board ensures that these facilities meet a standard of care which protects both the horses and the public, plus protects the state's integrity and their welfare for horses. This program is unique to this country and provides an important safeguard in animal welfare and public trust. In addition to the regulatory responsibilities, the Maryland Horse Industry Board also serves in an advisory capacity to the Secretary of Agriculture provides a stable, coordinated approach to the highly diverse and largely private industry that is the horse industry. The board also supports education, standards of care, public awareness efforts, and it all strengthens the industry nationwide. The Maryland Horse Industry Board has also led the creation of the Maryland Horse Park System's new digital home, which is a website that will bring people of all levels into Maryland and help them find their place in the horse industry. There is a place for everyone in Maryland's horse industry. Continuation of the board work is especially important at this time, as the Maryland Horse Industry Board is co-leading with the Maryland Racing Commission for the implementation of the Maryland Horse Industry Strategic Plan, which was established through an executive order from Governor Wes Moore. The initiative provides a united vision for growth, sustainability, and collaboration across all the sectors of the horse industry. I thank you very much and urge you to vote favorably in this bill.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Barnes and Vice Chair Kaiser. My name is Sheila Curry. I am the chair of the Maryland Horse Industry Board. I am also a lifelong resident of Prince George's County, Maryland, and currently work in the in the Prince George's County Executive's office for our current County Executive, Aisha Braithwaite. I am a lifelong, my kids are lifelong equestrians. That's why I'm here. They traveled all over the country riding horses. And my support for HB 225 is because of that $3 billion impact that the horse industry in the state of Maryland has. It is huge. It's a historic part of Maryland's history that we have to preserve. We have great assets here that we need to protect. The Maryland Horse Industry Board works with all of the assets of the horse industry to keep the future of the horse industry moving forward. The economic impact, as well as all the advisory, the regulatory piece of it that Steve spoke to, the 800 barns that we license. But I'm here, I did a written testimony, but I also want to just give you briefly just some of the assets that we work with here in the state of Maryland. We have over 200 equine organizations. We have 40 different breeds of horses in the state, not just race horses. We have 35 different equestrian disciplines. We have polo, we have show jumping, we have eventing, we have thoroughbred racing, lots of different disciplines. We have 4 large privately owned competition and education centers, Lockboy Farm, McDonough School. We have IEA high school teams. We have, like Ann said, and Steve also, over 800 licensed stables that we regulate, 42 horse discovery centers, 9 steeplechase courses, 9 recognized event courses, 58 therapeutic riding programs, 12 riding horseman programs, 50 equine rescues, 5 polo clubs. We have pony clubs, lots of 4-H. So there's a lot of history here. There are a lot of assets here that we have to protect and keep. And that's what Maryland Horse Industry Board does. It's a lot of work involved in it to keep all of these assets together and working together. We promote them, we market them.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
your
you.
testimony. Thanks for your service to the board and to Prince George's. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Any questions? Delegate Tolles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it okay if I make a comment, no question? Thank you so much. Well, welcome to my good friend.
Thank you.
But I just want to say, I appreciate you all bringing this bill. I love this because my niece ride horses, so I just wanted to say that she.
Thank you. I'm glad she's riding.
Yeah, and you know that I would come see your children ride, but I think it's important that we protect this industry and encourage more young people to get in. The business of riding horses and enjoying that, not as a pastime, but also as a skill set. So I just wanted to say thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Delegate Tolles, and that's part of our job.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Metzger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. I have a horse story.
We love a horse story.
Well, real fast on that. Years ago in my other life, I went to a horse auction and bought a horse for $7.
Wow.
And the next day I sold it for $100 before noon. So that was my horse story.
That's a good one.
So I felt like
Dinner's on Metzger.
that was that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
all right, we're gonna.
What I'm getting at.
You have a question in there, or
yeah, there's a question.
All right, let's get to
I'm
that.
not Delegate Comas, but Just a question I have is, why do we always have to seek a sunset, particularly on this? Why do we have to need a sunset to extend this sunset? Any particular reason?
I don't know that we have the answer for that.
I don't know.
I think that's just,
If we didn't have a sunset, we'd never get a great hearing like this. We'd never hear your story about your $7 horse. So sunsets are good.
What are the horse stories?
All right. 10 years this sunset, though, that seems pretty robust.
But I will say the therapeutic has really tremendous. My niece has really been benefited from the therapeutic.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, yeah. And it's
So
huge
that's
in
my
the
horse
state.
stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
Delegate Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the panel. A quick question, an actual question. Based on the mission of your board, how does the board intend or envision supporting the new Pimlico racetrack and the new scheme for thoroughbred horse racing at Pimlico?
Go ahead.
I grew up in the thoroughbred industry, so growing up in Pimlico and all the racing is very important to me. And this is my first year as executive director for the Maryland Horse Industry Board. And coming into this, one of the major things we wanted to talk about was the whole industry talking to each other, because racing can't survive without the rest of the industry. It needs to survive as a unit. We all benefit each other, from staffing to field space to horses to money to entertainment. So the Maryland Horse Strategic Plan that is in the works right now is heavily focused on the success of Pimlico by bringing everyone from different sectors, and I'm happy to share any parts of that report with anyone that would like to see it, but bringing all the sectors to the table to talk about it. But I will have you say one of the favorable things that was brought up in a lot of discussions during these meetings, but was the full support of Pimlico and the success of the racing as it goes to the whole industry. So we will, as we don't oversee any part of thoroughbred racing, but if it's part of the horse industry. And so we will do everything we can within our power to support Pimlico and to support the horse industry moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
you.
All right, so Andrew Fulgitti and Christopher Mertz, welcome. All right, Mr. Mertz, you're up. You can start.
Thank you for accommodating us today. Good afternoon, Chair Barnes, Vice Chair Kaiser, and members of the Appropriations Committee. For the record, my name is Christopher Mertz, and I serve as Executive Director of the Maryland Racing Commission with the Maryland Department of Labor. Today, I'm testifying in support of HB 228. The reason I am speaking today is because Maryland lacks a comprehensive safeguard against the sale and export of racehorses and breeding stock for the purpose of slaughter, commercial, human, or animal consumption. While the act of slaughtering a racehorse is illegal in Maryland, horse owners can sell or transfer racehorses to be slaughtered, effectively creating a loophole. The lack of this safeguard presents a significant risk to the humane treatment of racehorses and breeding stock, as well as the retired racehorse or racehorses in transition. This undermines the public's trust in the state's racing industries, which has potentially significant economic impacts on our state. The equine industry has a $2.9 billion impact on the Maryland economy. Horse racing contributes $885 million and nearly 11,000 jobs. And as this committee is well aware, the state has committed $400 million to rebuild historical Pimlico Racecourse and construct a new training center in an effort to revitalize Maryland's rich racing heritage. As stewards of our racing athletes, we must do everything we can to protect the driver of that economic engine, the horse. To be clear, this bill is about first and foremost the protection of these athletes, but is also a very real and direct recognition of their downstream economic impacts on Marylanders from across this state. These impacts to the racing industry have widespread effects on the entire racing ecosystem of professionals in Maryland. Examples of this vast ecosystem include veterinarians that support horses not only at Pimlico, but on family horse farms across the state, blacksmiths, and even feed stores. Maryland has a long and distinguished racing heritage, and the state continues to make significant investments in the future of the industry. To protect that investment, appropriate safeguards must be in place to ensure the health and welfare of racing horses and their offspring. Failure to do so risks undermining both the integrity of the sport and the legacy that Maryland has worked hard to preserve for generations. I'm here today to be the voice of our horses, humbly asking you to give them the proper protections they so rightly deserve. Finally, I do want to make the committee aware of one amendment. The amendment can be found in our written testimony, and we'll make sure the committee has a formal copy ASAP. The amendment ensures that Maryland has the authority to go after individuals who violate this law and establishes a statute of limitations of 6 months. Without this amendment, we cannot go after violators who may have vacated the state. With that, I respectfully request a favorable with amendments report by the committee on HB 228. I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Thank you. Hang tight for questions. Let's take Andrew, and then we'll take questions. Welcome, Andrew.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair. For the record, Andrew Fulginiti. Director Murr's testimony, I think, covered it. I just wanted to be here to support any questions the committee might have.
Excellent. Thanks for being with us. Any questions? Okay. I think you were so thorough, there are no questions. Thanks for this bill. We look forward to getting to it. You guys have a great day.
Appreciate
that
it.
concludes the bill hearing, and that concludes our hearings for the day.
Yeah, I'll get my blanket.
You're going to need it in here. You need it right here.